Being a father is the greatest role in the world, but it's also a privilege that dads don't intentionally work on every day. We celebrate athletes, entrepreneurs, and influencers, but the dad raising the next generation is usually just a punchline to a joke. If we don't start celebrating fatherhood, we fail the kids who are counting on us the most. I'm Andrew Russell, founder of Dadderup, and I'm on a mission to promote and celebrate what it means to be a dad. So the genesis of me realizing that this is something that should be celebrating, a few months back, my youngest actually turned 7. So what did I do? Like every other self-respecting father, what do? We run to get all the pictures. I remember the picture when she was first born and I held her. You know, she was actually C-section. So when the baby comes from a C-section plan, the dad gets skin to skin first. So I held my youngest, Gabby, and I have these cool pictures. So I got that picture. I got all the other pictures when she grew up, and you kind of put that all together. And, you know, since I'm clearly dad of the year, you stitch it all together, figure out the technology, which I stink at, stress myself out for her birthday, post it, and that's that. And I realized, like, what a joke. Literally, my youngest, who is so amazing, so delicious, so cool, so tough. She's so awesome. Why am I celebrating her in this one day? Yeah, it's her birthday. I get it. But why am I not doing a better job celebrating her daily? I don't understand. So, you know, fast forward, had the birthday, saw the Taylor Swift cover band, lived the dream, forgot about it. Next thing you know is my favorite holiday. My favorite holiday is coming up, right? June, Father's Day. So what do? So excited that I'm a dad. It's the biggest gift in the world. I do not take it for granted. And I love every second of it being a girl dad. But what do? Same thing. Go back at both sets of pictures, right? Both when they were first born, all the memories, all the experiences, use the technology, kind of put it together, figure out a collage. I mean, I have a whole team behind me to help me on the digital side, but I'm trying to figure it out myself. I stink at it, put it all together, post it, stressed out on Father's Day. Why? Doesn't make any sense. And again, I'm like, why am I doing this crazy shuffle to get all these pictures to celebrate being a dad on one day when you should really celebrate being a dad every single day? There's so much that goes into being a father, and there's so much repercussions from being a great father, from being just an average father, from not being a good dad. You know, they've coined the term daddy issues, right? I didn't create it, but it's a thing, you know, definitely is a thing. So what if we celebrated being a dad every day? And that this whole concept in my mind kind of birthed, right? The genesis of let's celebrate our dad flexes. Let's celebrate being a great dad every day. So, you know, in my mission, I've talked to plenty of dads and, you know, I've told them about, you know, some of the concepts and some of the things that I'm trying to really, you know, change the narrative about and really help the whole fatherhood space. Typical feedback is always, yeah, Andrew, I show up every day. Why do I need to celebrate it? Why do you need to celebrate it? What are you, crazy? It is potentially the most, if you're a father, important role that you ever will have in your whole existence on this earth. You have the opportunity to mold, to love on, to nurture, to really turn into a self-sufficient, you know, little human. It's the most important thing. So why do you celebrate it? Because anything in life, right? It's the journey, right? So you want to celebrate it. You want to spin it into a positive. You want to work on it daily. You want to be intentional. That is something to be proud of. It's something that is definitely being an intentional father or present father should be celebrated every day. It's not something to take for granted. Or hey, Andrew, aren't you just overhyping something that should just be normal? Well, listen, if we're just being objective and I'm a dadder representing the dad space, there's plenty of fathers that are not, this isn't the norm, right? Daddy issues, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't a thing. It's a thing. There are some times where fathers are not present. They're not intentional. They're not there anymore, you know, whatever it is. So unfortunately in this society, we don't bat 1,000, which means out of 10 dads are killing it, intentional, showing up every day, making mistakes. None of us are perfect, but trying every single day, working on their craft, which is being the best version of themselves as a father for their children. This is not the norm necessarily, right? There's plenty of, you know, situations where you hear or you meet someone like, hey, my dad wasn't around, or my dad was potentially emotionally abusive, or we don't bat 1,000 as a society. It's a fact as dads. So although great dads probably see this as the norm, maybe don't want a high five, that's very much, you know, the man thing, right? Just show up, just do it. This is something more than ever that has to be celebrated because I want the new norm to be the celebration and the intentional, flip the narrative upside down. What does it mean in society to be a great dad? That's going to be the new norm. All right, guys. So let's talk about first, why is this worthy of a celebration? What is so celebratory about being an amazing father? Which is crazy that I'm even saying that, but let's talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to give you 5 tips, 5 strategies on how to crush it in the dad space, be the best version of yourself as a dadder, and just have the best dad flex as possible. We'll talk about what all that means, but I'll leave you with 5 specific strategies. So why do we deserve such celebration? Am I sitting here like I need a hug and someone to tell me how good I am and what I do? No, I think if we took a step back, zoomed out 30,000 feet, what does it mean right now in the society to be an amazing father? Are we just GIFs, dad jokes, right? We crush it, but we don't have a community where you can kind of lean into it on the great days and not lean in, obviously, with a community on the bad days, because guess what? All the best dads in the world, and I am proud to say that every single day I'm intentional on what I could do to be a better father, but I make mistakes. We all make mistakes because nobody bats 1,000 as a father. You have a bad day at work, you bring it home to the kids, maybe you lose your patience, you don't have any patience and you're not the best version of yourself. Or in the morning, something happens. I'm talking about myself, where something happens at work and maybe the kids wake up a little bit later, which is really my fault. They show up to school a couple minutes late and now they're late to flu lessons. That's a dad fail. We all have had dad fails, but this is something without a doubt that's worthy of a celebration. Why? It is so important, the influence that we leave on these little humans, the love, the empathy, right from wrong, failure to launch, but you want them to be able to launch off the ledge and become humans in the world that are self-sufficient and great people and respectful and all that stuff. So guess who has the biggest influence on them typically? It's the parents, the parentals. The father is one of the two. So 50% of the influence comes from the dad. Clearly, you don't have to be a math guy. If half the influence comes from one person, that role is super important. When anything is super important, when you have your W's, your wins, you want to celebrate it. Why? Because guess what? Like my kids love Fortnite, you're right, drop the L. There are going to be losses. Something, like I said, something's going to happen. They're going to be late for flute, or you can't find the soccer field. You show up 10 minutes into it. Now your kid's not playing until the second period, or whatever it is. Mistakes happen. We're all human. But if we don't celebrate the wins, what's the point of it? Because there's going to be the L's, the losses, the mistakes, the learning experiences. Not always bad, showing up late or something happening. It's just communication. You always talk through with your kids. There's always learning moments, even as a parent. I'm comfortably, I can say, in my 40s, and I'm still every single day working on this because I will forever work on it. As my kids, who are now at the time of filming 7 and 9, guess what? 2nd and 4th grade, eventually they'll be in middle school. New sets of rules, new dynamics, new peer pressures. The phone influence is a thing, right? All the social medias eventually will be an influence. So I'm always going to have to perfect this craft. But I can tell you, as in anything, right? A weight loss journey or a business journey of, say, rolling out a mortgage company like I did, to all the successes that we've had on my resume. If you don't celebrate the wins, it's difficult because you will have losses along the way. So it's always about the journey and celebrating all the good. And that's the motivating factor that helps with the discipline, because the discipline, it's like almost like a love bank, right? So love bank is if you're in a relationship and you have all these good things, right? You call them and you tell them you love them and you bring them home roses and you go on date night and you give them the back massage. You clean the dishes, put the dishes away, which isn't my superpower. You take the garbage out. All that good stuff. Quality time, you're obviously there. You're depositing into your love bank, proverbially, I think is the word, right? So the same thing goes with the wins. Things will happen, you're not going to make something, or the kid's upset because of something you were late to because of work or whatever it is. If you don't stack up all these wins, those losses, you're going to have a barren, parental love bank. It's going to make it more difficult. So the discipline specifically is taking a step back. Like, wow, I crushed it today. Today was a win. Stack up those wins in your parental love bank, because I'm telling you, you're going to need it, because nobody bats 1,000. All right, guys, here's the fun part. We're going to go over 5 tips, 5 strategies on how to, work on your dad flex, as I call it. But 5 ways so you can be a better father, enjoy it more, right? Commit more, but also, celebrate your dad flex. Celebrate how awesome it is to be a father. Before we do, make sure, guys, go in the description right now, click the link. You have access to a community that I created called Dadder Up. So I created a community with a massive ecosystem and community of fellow dads, right? So team, together each achieves more. We're called the Teedom. Together each dadder achieves more. Members of Dadder Up are called dadders. Make sure you go in the description, click the link, join our community where we lean into each other for all the celebrations, where we lean into each other for all the losses. all guys, we're always taught, man up, just figure it out, right? You're a dad, man up. First of all, I don't even know what that means. But second of all, there are no places for us to man up. And what does man up mean? Do the right thing, figure it out. There is nowhere where, especially in the days that are more difficult, where we can lean in, right? So I've created a community called Dad Are Up. It is definitely turning the narrative completely upside down on what it means to be an intentional present father. So hop in the description, click the link, join the community. It's going to change your life. So the first way to celebrate your dad flex, something to work on that'll only improve your dadding game, is going to be communication. Now, why do I say this? Communication is very important no matter how old your little is or your little human. They could be, early in their development. They could be, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They could be 14. But communication, especially with human beings, is so paramount because we're a pack culture. And communication is just really, the expressive communication is really the best way to have them learn, to build empathy, to build a relationship. So specifically, I can give you an example, communication-wise. So I ended up at one point selling one of my houses. And when I did, I didn't tell my oldest, who was a little bit more mature at the time than my youngest, that I was doing it. And I kind of did it in a circuitous way. It wasn't right how I did it. I thought it made sense at the time. And it turns out that she was a little dissatisfied, and she kind of found out from someone else who kind of blabbered a little bit. It turns out she found out we were selling our house. And she kind of came to me, and she loves me very much, and she's very respectful. And she communicated and said, listen, I wish you would have told me, so I heard it from you. And it's crushing. It's crushing when you're a 40-year-old man and your little is telling you something, and they're right. She was right. So for me, communication is everything. So what I try to do is now proactively, I communicate so many things, and I'm still even failing at it. When I'm telling you guys how important it is, I'm still working on it. Another example for communication, funny enough, for Dad Are Up, for this community that I mentioned we're rolling out, I started doing, some content with my kids, which I already did for mortgage, and I just love doing, they love doing, we have a great time. And the whole time during it, my production team, they're telling us what to do. And my oldest, she's just chirping, right? She's hazing, she's chirping me. Your phone, put away your phone. Your phone, hey kids, what would you like better? Like that you had less on your phone. Like if we can go anywhere on vacation, somewhere where you put your phone away. And in my head, I was getting very triggered by that. And I was embarrassed, kind of upset. I'm like, Daniela, enough, I get it. But she was right again. Little Daniela, who is now 9. I can't believe my oldest is turning 10. She was right again. And she was able to communicate. And I asked her, I pulled her aside. I like a little bit of one-on-one attention. Sometimes the youngest is a little bit spicy. I'm sure those of you with 2 or more kids, it's hard to have that one-on-one when the other younger ones are running about and they need attention too, right? God forbid they don't get the attention. I was able to have a conversation with her, and I said, look, she's like, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I'm like, why didn't you tell me this earlier? I didn't want to hurt your feelings. So we created this cool communication word called chicken. So when she has a look or whatever, she wants to say something, because listen, at the end of the day, I'm a girl dad. I'm definitely the guy wearing the Elsa wig back in the day, bringing them to the concerts, right? Singing at Benson Boone and Taylor and Tate McRae and all this stuff. But I'm an intimidating guy. So I don't think I intimidate my children because I lead with love and I'm a big teddy bear, but still, I'm a large guy. So we created a word called chicken, right? So whenever she feels away, wants to tell me something, she takes a deep breath and she'll say, chicken, just to me. And I know exactly what that means. It means we've created this cool thing called the office. So my laundry room, we're calling it the office. So that's where we go. We shut the doors, privacy. I pick her up, I put her on the laundry machine, and she feels like she's in a chair. And she tells me how she feels now. And this just happened over the last several months. It's super cool, but it just showed that I really had to work on communication with my kids. Listen, I'm a psych guy. I'm a psych masters, and I do it for a living. I'm in sales, but ultimately, it was just cool to get that moment from her. And again, communication, if I could ever implore you guys to do anything, communication is killer. It's not easy. It's not easy kind of, your kids a little bit down here. You're going down on their level, speaking very calm and slow and staring at them in their, beautiful blue eyes like my kids have. But that's one thing that is a huge takeaway, and that helps me with my dad flexes every day. I work on my communication with them, and we create this cool safe word. So now I want to give them the environment that they can communicate how they feel. Because guess what? If your kids feel comfortable to tell you how they feel at the right times, your relationship, it only goes up. The second specific dad flex tip and strategy to just crush in the dad space is just being intentional every day. So it starts with, do you care about, I can't make you. Do you care about being the best version of yourself as a father today? I'm sure you care about a weight loss journey, right? You care about your diet, you care about, what you ingest. That's obviously part of the diet. You care about work, right? You get up, you shower, you brush your teeth, you put on your suit or your dad or up costume, and you go to work on time, right? Those are things you care about, but you work on every single day. But are you intentional to be an amazing, present, loving, doting, all-in father? And I'm not saying you're a bad father, but is every day, are you waking up with an intention? Meaning like, what's the typical bro split? That's what they call in the gym, right? Chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, a 5-day split. So like Monday, you're intentional. You go to the gym, you get there on time for when it opens. You're being intentional. You do incline press and all these cool things, right? But are you doing the same thing with your kids? Today, what is my intention of the day? Maybe before they go to bed, I call it a daily dad or success. It means every day that I'm going to be intentional, right? You get Growth Day, which is an amazing app by Brendan Bouchard, where it's like gives you a something every single day. Or, people do things during the week. They go to therapy and they're intentional about that to work on their craft. But are you doing it every single day intentional for your kids? Not just showing up, not just going through the motions. Because again, if you rate yourself on a 1 to 10, and this is what we do in business, right? Remove the number 7. Are you an 8 to a 10 always? Or are you a 6 or less? Because going through the motions, like you didn't have kids to just go through the motions, right? You had kids to slay it in the dad game, to raise an amazing human. So every single day I challenge you to be intentional. Read them. My oldest Danielle, when she was little, she liked unicorns, this unicorn book. I was always so tired, building a new mortgage company business, exhausted. I think the pandemic, a million things. But what did I do every single night before she went to bed? I let her read the unicorn book. And I'll never forget her little Daniela voice. Sparkle, the pink moocorn. And by the time she said that, I knew we had 1 page left. I was usually falling asleep. I fell asleep like 416 times in this little book when she would read it. I'm sure this is resonating with all the dads. If you're manning up, if you're dadding up right now, celebrating your dad flex and reading books with your kids, just being objective. If you have a long day at work, I'm sure you fall asleep 500 times as they're doing it. But man, I showed up every single time to do that. Did I do a 10 out of 10, an 8 out of 10 every time? I don't know. Sometimes I was like, man, can this kid read any faster? Please, God, I'm so tired. I just want to, go to bed. But I was intentional about that. Or another example, if your kid's on the younger side, tell them about the day they were born. This is part of our DDS as well, our daily dad or success, just some of our ideas. Tell your kid about the day they were born. Or stop on the way home, get a card, right? What does that cost? $2? Or you can even probably get off Amazon same day at this point of, maybe a robot delivers it to you same day in this world. Who knows? And just write your kid a card. Like my daughter, I could say, Dear Daniela, or Dear Gabriella, or Gabba, of course. That's what we call her. I think you're the greatest. I'm so proud of how you're doing in school. Last weekend, you played so good on the soccer field. And I appreciate now that you're finally cleaning up after yourself after we have dinner. Love, your biggest fan, your dad. Love you so much. Just whatever. It's just a little thing. But every single day, imagine for the rest of time, you were intentional, because guess what? I'm going to tell you something that you clearly as a parent don't know, forgot about. This is remarkable. You guys ready? So I once heard this cool thing where it was probably in one of the old movies I used to watch with one of my sisters. 10 Things I Hate About You, I think, where the father was, I think a doctor or gynecologist. And he was talking to the kids, his daughters, and he was crazy with them, super helicopter parent. And he told one, and it was like they had a very sweet moment. Communication, right? That was the first thing, communication. I had a communicative moment. It was great. And what he said was, we start playing in the game with you. Then we're on the sideline. Then we're in the stands. And eventually we're not even in the stadium anymore. And it's true. Time flies so much where listen, every year it's like, oh, I'm going to miss this with my kids. I'm going to miss this moment, right? Where they OCD about Cocomelon. And you're like, bro, if I listen to Cocomelon one more time, I have to watch this one more time, I'm going to, jump off my roof, proverbially, of course. Or it turns Frozen, right? We probably watched Frozen 7,432 times. And then it turned into Snow White, with the apple. And we had like this fake porcelain apple. Pretty sure I had to bite that apple 600 times a day for like a week. And then it turned into something else. And you're like, man, is this ever going to end? But man, I miss that stuff, right? So now they're 9 and 7. Things are different, right? A little bit of YouTube shorts, or YouTube. Here we are. But is that the right move? I don't know. I think every parent struggles with electronics. Now it's Roblox, watching the games, but like every moment is so cool as they keep evolving. But you can't go back and relive some of those other moments. The moment of picking my oldest up from preschool and she was out playing with her friends. And she would see me and scream, Daddy, and just run to me. It was like, the best moment. And now it's different, but now it's like my sweet, sweet older one is like, she's like, it's It's not as cool anymore to do that. Dad's a little cringe, right? And like, oh, come on, bro. I'm cringe. You're going to want a Lexus when you're 16, kid, or what? But just kidding. Maybe not. But, those are the things that you can't replicate or do over again. So if you're intentional every day, you'll never look back with any type of regrets. I promise you, whether it's when you're watching this video right now, joining our Dad Up community, so we actually tell you each day what to do with our DDS or Daily Dad Success. Please take today moving forward and just be more intentional. It'll definitely change the game. The third, dad traditions. This is one of my favorite. It's just repetitive things where you build a relationship. And when you do them together, it's just this cool vibe and just like this cool closeness that you create. Like for me, two of my traditions, I'll give you guys quick. So when we eat, and say it's the three of us at that moment, we do a thing where we do like look to your left. Like, hey, you guys want to play look to your left? It's so cool. So we do look to your left and guess the person's favorite color. And I know Daniela's favorite color is blue because Daddy's favorite color is blue. Not sure you guys knew that. Blue eyes is really what I'm rocking these days. But Gabby, the younger one, of course, smart, needs the attention. Depending on the day, it's, light pink, turquoise, like all these strange color, rainbow. Like she makes it up because she wants to like fool us. But it's just the coolest tradition. Look to your left. Look to your left. If we go on a vacation for Christmas this year, where would you like to go? And you have to guess what the person on your left is doing. Those are things that we do at different times. Kind of a tradition I've created, but it's so cool. And then when I say it, they perk up, their eyes light up, and we do cool things like that. So I definitely implore you, create some kind of cool tradition, be repetitive, because kids love that. But what does it do? You're slaying the dad game that day. They're going to remember that, right? When they're being walked down the aisle or, they're waiting at the other side of the aisle for the person to walk down. Remember when we were 8 and 6 and we used to eat dinner together and we used to do that cool game? Like those are the best memories. Money can't even buy that stuff, right? So that's one tradition that I do, which we love. We still do to this day. It's getting a little bit more mature. Now it's like this brain rot. Like, I don't know if you guys are into brain rots. Literally, my whole house is a bunch of brain rots. So it's name a brain rot. So it's like cappuccino assassina, I think, right? Matteo, strawberry elephant, blueberrini, octopusini. Like, so we name brain rots. This is what I do for a living with my kids. I slay the dad game by naming brain rots, but it's a cool tradition. Second tradition, bedtime. It is not easy corralling spicy 7 and 9-year-olds who are fun, cool, and love on their dad and vice versa to go to bed, especially at 8:39. So when they wake up for the next day for school, they're not shot and I'm being a super bad dad. So we have this cool tradition. We go up, we start in my oldest room. She, goes into bed. I kind of tuck her in with the blankets and me and the younger one pretend like we're leaving. So as we're leaving, she goes, Daddy, can you tuck me in? The older one. So we go back. I lay on her, give her a big hug, and then the little one, Gabby, jumps on my back. So we're basically like squashing her. They love it. I don't know why. I don't think I would like that. But we lay on her, we kind of squash her, and I'm like, all right. So I stand up, and Gabby's on my back, like almost like a piggyback. And then, Daniela tries like, no, it's like a joke we do. So then I leave, and I piggyback her to her room. So then when we get to her room, it's a true story, I put her on her bed, she stands there, and she makes me video her doing the Sue, the Ronaldo Sue. She like jumps on her bed. I throw her a stuffy, because God forbid kids don't sleep with 740 stuffies. I throw her the stuffy, and I show it to her. So like we do it, I lay with her, turn the lights off, and I show her the video, and she loves it. So that's part of the tradition. Then it turns into like a quick cuddle, and then she has to like crawl over me to get her water, and I hold her feet, and then like she's into cracking her hands and her feet. It's like the big toes, we crack them. It's an interesting tradition that we have. And then we sit there and we kind of talk a little about her day, and sometimes she likes to search up who's coming, because she loves going to concerts. But that's our thing. Eventually, I kind of wait for her to calm down, and then I leave. Then I go to Daniela. Our tradition is, which is super cool, she's 9. So I started creating special songs. So I created 3 unique special songs. I'm definitely not going to sing here, but you can definitely put a comment if you are interested in potentially buying these songs. It'd be worth millions of dollars. They're way better than any of the artists. But I created You're Just a Bean, You Got Jelly in Your Belly and Poops in Your Butt, I Looked Far and Wide, 3 songs I actually created myself. So I would, over the years, we do like the same thing, like a protective cuddle, and I sing her all the special songs. At one point, there was like 7 or 8, and I'm not that good of a singer. Sure, maybe singer-songwriter, but singing, that's not my superpower. I'll stick to being a girl dad. And now, still, it's just like, even in those moments when she's, I drop her off at school and I'm the cringy dad, we have those sweet, intimate moments where she loves me, I love her. And she's like, Daddy, can you sing me a special song? Because I guess it soothes her. So I sing one, and I kind of like, we're there, and I wait a little bit, then I go to leave, and she's like, no, don't leave. You're with Gabby longer than me, which how FOMO and these kids are. I say, okay, cool, 1 more minute. She says, no, 100. And then I'm like, 7. And we do like a negotiation, like she's trying to like buy a house or something. So we always settle at 5. So she has a clock. So I stay there 5 more minutes, then I leave. So as you can see, these traditions didn't cost me any money, didn't really think them out. I kind of came up with them on the spot. But there's special moments that my kids, even now, as they're getting older, they remember. And all it's done is help me celebrate my dad flex and have a better relationship with my kids. The fourth, document your journey. So this is a little bit dicey because how many times have you been to a concert or somewhere and you see the parents the whole time? They're on their phones, right? The whole time. It's tough. Like, is it great with technology that on your smartphone you now have like the best video recorder thing ever, better than my digital team? Sure, that's super cool. That's super amazing. But don't, take yourself out of the moment so you're not present. But it is super cool looking back. I had the opportunity to bring them to Benson Boone. So I also, lucky enough, captured on video the exact moment that I picked up my youngest, who weighs a little bit less than the older. And even at this point, my back's a little bit spicy. Picked up my youngest right on stage, and Benson leaned over and he grabbed her hand. I have it on video and I have a coolest picture. And that's the coolest thing ever because now we've documented our journey. And all the time, my kids love to look at the pictures and just some of the things. And I had the benefit of bringing them to Busch Gardens. And, there's giraffes and there's all sorts of things. Like my youngest never went on an upside down ride. So this really cool thing to document the journey, which didn't mean that I was on my phone the whole time, right? Doing the parent thing, which is a little obsessive. I asked her 3 times before the ride. I said, Gabby, you're about to go on an upside down ride. How do you feel? And it's super cool. She's like stressed out, probably being dramatic, but cute, but like, oh my God, I'm stressed. Gabby, second time. How do you feel about you're about to go on your first upside down ride? Over and over. So the second time, Gabby, are you nervous? Oh my God, I'm stressed out. Third time. Then I had pictures. And finally, we went on the upside down ride. It was okay. On a 1 to 10, it was probably a 5 or a 6 scare factor. Not horrible. It was a little aggressive. We're bouncing, whatever. So then I video her after her and I'm like, Gabby, you went on your first upside down ride. How was it? And she's like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. It was super cute. But the point is I documented it. And was that all that difficult? No. Did it cost me anything? No. But it's just something that really helps celebrate those amazing moments as a dad. And I'm telling you, when you document your journey and can look back on it, it's the greatest thing. So the fifth thing, and something that I started doing myself, is document your journey with your kids. Involve them in your journey. So as an example, sometimes dads, when they have children, we don't birth them per se, we get some baby weight, right? Sometimes those dads, maybe me, were studs back in the day. Then all of a sudden, a couple extra pounds. Then all of a sudden the scales, switching the first number of the 3 gets and then the next number. If you catch my drift, and you're like, oh my God. But what do you do about it? Maybe nothing. Maybe vanity at that point or health. It's just like you got so much going on, right? The kids, sleep, work, whatever, so you don't work on it. So for me, I've struggled always. My family's huge on weight. They're very judgmental. I feel like my grandparents are like, oh my God, you look great. Or, oh my God, you got to lose a few pounds. But whatever it is, weight in our family, we can gain it very fast. We could lose it very fast. So I've never really been able to stick to something to lose weight. So now I can tell you comfortably this whole 10,000 steps thing. To me, steps are boring, waste of time. Who the heck has an hour and a half to just walk? So boring. You'd be doing so many other things. But I never really cracked the code on why it was important and all that good stuff. So I've realized, unfortunately, a fact of life is when you're in your 40s in a stressful job like I was, you're a stroke or a heart attack away from never seeing your kids again, right? That's why you have life insurance. This is objectively like this could possibly happen. So all that extra weight, I can control that. So I decided to embark on this really cool health journey where I think people, my coaches have told me that you underestimate how much muscle you have. And I'm a big guy. No matter what happens, I think I'm going to have some kind of muscle. And you underestimate how much fat you're holding. So I was so focused on lifting and like that whole, bro split stuff in the gym that I didn't focus on just purely losing weight, which is more for health, less for vanity, more for health. So months ago, I started, I've initially lost 30 pounds to get to a certain point. And even in the last couple months, I've lost almost another 20 or 30 pounds, right? And I'm only telling you this because I've involved my kids. We do this cool thing where my older one, she hugs me and she could feel how big my belly was, right? So when I started, I'm like, Daniela, come give dad a hug, which she does. a little bit slower than she used to when she was little. But she comes and gives me a hug, and I said, look, take your hands, put them around me, and just remember this and like how much space there was that I was occupying. And the coolest thing is I didn't even have to say anything, a month or two into it. She ran up, she's like, Dad, hold on, let's do our thing. And she hugged me. She's like, Dad, where did it all go? I don't understand. And I said, listen, I was holding a couple extra baby bounds. Now you're 9. It's not really cool anymore. So I included her in my journey. They know about my steps. So we eat dinner, and they know right after we eat, I go out and I do a mile or two, right? And they know that. They know I'm counting my steps. They go, Dad, how many steps do you have? Have you been a good boy? We're not going to be good girls if you don't do your 10,000 steps. They don't really say that, but they probably actually did say that. But I've involved them in the journey. So we have this another, as you guys can see, what's the reoccurring theme? A cool bond where us as parents can be celebrated, especially us as dads, can be celebrated in all the cool ways, but including them in your own personal journey, whether it's work, whether it's weight loss or health. It's the coolest thing, and it only brings you closer. So as you can see, guys, there's so many tips, so many strategies, but make sure if you want help with this, you want to be a part of the coolest community, turning the narrative completely on its head about what it means to be a present, intentional, awesome dad with, we call it the DDS, the Daily Dad of Success, tips and strategies for every single day. So you don't have to, if you're stressed, you got something for work or, health stuff going on, whatever it is, you don't have to think, right? It's given to you exactly what to do for that day. And it's specific to ages 0 to 9, 10 plus, the stepdad space. This is something that literally piques your interest and you're interested in joining the best movement ever around being a great dad. Hop in the description, click the link, and join Dadder Up. It's our community where in Dadder Up, we have the TDM, Together Each Dadder Achieves More. The TDM is there for you both for your wins, for your losses to lean into in our Discord chat, but make sure right now you join. It's definitely going to change your life. If you're ready to redefine what fatherhood looks like for you and for the next generation, click our next video.